Guys, I'm really not coming. That's absolutely it for me.
That's all. Basically, we just got hit really hard here, quite unexpectedly, by drones.
Right now, there are catastrophic strikes deep inside Russia, massive attacks.
We thought we had some kind of connection, but it turns out this place was just total chaos.
Russia urgently burst into flames and drones are flying in everywhere, exploding while chaos engulfs the cities. Russia has been pushed to the wall, there's a blackout across the country, the strike was incredible. This is a triumph. Putin screamed when he found out about this. An energy apocalypse is sweeping across Russia. A fiery whirlwind scorched the enemy's most important target. The strike forces are going on the attack. Nothing like this has happened before. This will force Russia to capitulate. Hello, I'm Renata Aslanova, and in our Red Line broadcast, we'll cover all the explosive news. Stay with us until the end. Russia is at the epicenter of a fiery whirlwind. Drones are flying in and destroying everything in their path. Rostov region was so shaken by this action that it practically dropped to its knees.
According to reports, the LPDS Yekaterinovka oil pumping station of Transneft was hit. NASA's fire signatures on the map match the location and timing of the strike.
The regional governor only confirmed the fact of a fire in the city, stating that all targets were shot down and it's just grass burning. Things were truly heated in Belgorod region, where local authorities reported shooting down 37 enemy targets at once.
Guys, I won't be coming. That's it. That's all?
The village of Moshknoye in the Grevoronsky district came under rocket fire from the Ukrainian armed forces.
It seems the local authorities are hiding something. Meanwhile, the locals are loudly talking about drone attacks, with epic footage to prove it. The locals kept believing in the power of Russian air defense until the very end.
They're shooting them down. They lost the theaters.
At that moment, it seems the Russian defenders were on a smoke break at the health complex and couldn't handle the tension. According to the governor, a young woman and 2 men were killed. Gladkov did not specify whether they were military personnel, but the locals have completely different information.
Zhenya Kravchenko is on the verge of death. 2 military guys are dead upstairs. My head hurts so much.
However, that's not the only thing they're stubbornly trying to hide in Belgorod. Shock. In the city of Stary Oskol, a Russian air defense missile hit a high-rise building. All of this was disguised under the pretense of unknown circumstances. A drone carried out the strike.
At that moment, there were no drones near the high-rise building. Before the explosion, the only thing visible on the video is the flash from a flying missile.
The authorities in Belgorod, despite everything, are trying to assure everyone that the situation is under control.
The absolutely main and crucial thing that truly saves us is our constant and unwavering readiness for the difficult and complex challenges that may potentially lie ahead. We meticulously developed detailed maps and we carefully made comprehensive missile plans. The most important and paramount thing is to reassure our anxious residents, especially all the people living in the vulnerable Belgorod region. We are diligently doing absolutely everything we possibly can, but unfortunately there isn't much significant help or support from the federal center. But sometimes we experience failures.
It's a mess, some kind of connection failed, but it turns out it was just the TV because things are crazy.
A fierce attack has just hit Yekaterinburg, where the roof of a factory that produces equipment for nuclear and thermal power plants caught fire.
The Elmas factory manufactures power and distribution electrical equipment used in both civilian and defense sectors.
According to local social media reports, the fire covered about 1,000 square meters. The flames could be seen even from distant neighborhoods, and the sky above the site was filled with thick black smoke. Meanwhile, the Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations press service insists that the fire did not break out directly at the Ural turbine plant. but rather at a neighboring warehouse in the industrial zone on Frontovik Brigade Street. It seems that Sverdlovsk Oblast can't take it anymore. Across the entire region, Russians have started playing hide and seek. Yes, you heard that right. Urgent evacuation of a defense industry worker. Those who didn't manage to get into the shelter will have to face unknown drones one-on-one.
In Yekaterinburg, an evacuation was announced for workers at the Ural Civil Aviation Plant and the Kalinin plant, both of which are part of the defense sector.
And in addition, telecom operators were ordered to restrict internet access due to the threat of drone attacks. It seems Russians are preparing for the worst-case scenario, and that's not surprising. In recent days, the radius of the alert has expanded like never before.
From Yekaterinburg to the nearest point of the Ukrainian border is about 1,700 kilometers. In some places, it's 1,800 kilometers in a straight line.
2,000 kilometers, and that's just the beginning. There is no longer any deep rear in Russia. Ukrainian drones have reached right into the very heart of Tyumen. Flames engulfed a strategic oil refinery. As always, local authorities tried to calm the panic, coming up with another fairy tale in the usual style. Everything is under control, no fire, everything is going to plan.
There are no casualties. No explosions or fires have occurred. All enterprises in this area are operating as usual and have not stopped their work.
But people were filming a completely different picture. After the detonation, chaos engulfed the city. Firefighters, ambulances, and police were rushing at full speed toward the oil refinery. The panic from the series of explosions simply undermined the Russian rear. And these are already shots from the outskirts of Feodosia. The whole sky is filled with smoke. Russian media are sluggishly mumbling that something is burning somewhere, when the authorities pretend that nothing has happened. Crimea is turning into a continuous zone of mysterious fires. Russia is already getting used to living without electricity, heat, and apparently without water. Ukrainian drones are opening up a new front line right in the enemy's rear. And this is happening right now.
In short, we just got hit really hard by a number of drones here, at this very location.
After devastating strikes, Bryansk region, one of the key test regions, simply couldn't withstand the pressure. A fire broke out instantly, so massive that everyone held their breath.
According to preliminary information, the open switchgear at the Klintsy thermal power plant caught fire.
The flames dramatically reached the impressive height of a 5-story building. And then there were 4 incredibly loud explosions, and unfortunately, the window was open.
Bryansk governor remains silent on massive destruction of thermal power plants. Russian Ministry of Defense boasts shooting down 8 drones, but this doesn't bring peace of mind to Russians. Everyone around is hiding something.
The Regional Ministry of Emergency Situations reported disruptions in heating and electricity supply in the city of Klintsy, but they did not link this to the attack on the thermal power plant.
The Belgorod region is also no stranger to discomfort. Thanks to the kind drones, there's neither light nor water.
Belgorod is under rocket fire. The city is experiencing power outages and interruptions in water supply.
Thousands of Russians remain cut off from the world. In
the very next moment, a pre-scheduled, unavoidable shutdown regrettably affects a significant number of residents, specifically 1,440 individuals. This is in the city of Belgorod, Kryevsky district. This is the Voluski, Balakonsky district and the Krovoronsky, Shabisonsky area. Restoration work continues in these areas, and it is expected to be completed soon.
Meanwhile, Roydronov attacked another region of the Russian Federation.
It's at the bottom. There it is.
Public pages are reporting 10 to 15 explosions happening at the same time. In Dzerzhinsk, one of the largest explosives manufacturers was taken out.
In Dzerzhinsk, Nizhny Novgorod region, drones likely attacked the Sverdlov explosives plant.
Panic swept through the region. Nizhny Novgorod also had a fire show. Flashes, loud explosions, and chaos. Local authorities are nervously denying the consequences of the massive explosions, claiming everything is under control, that there were only a few fires in the private sector and minimal damage.
Falling debris caused several localized fires in the private sector, which were quickly extinguished. There have been reports of damage to residential window units and the roof of one gas station. No damage was caused to industrial facilities.
Sochi has also joined in, and the carpet plan has been implemented at the airports.
45 arriving flights have been delayed and 1 has been cancelled. The situation with departures is about the same. 40 flights are delayed and 1 is cancelled.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Peace and quiet in Moscow is just a dream. Their Ministry of Defense's air defense shot down a drone that was heading for the city, and debris is scattered all over the district. And things are no easier in the occupied territories of Ukraine. In Crimea, Ukrainian drones have launched a real hellish roasting of Russian targets.
The Ministry of Defense's air defense forces shot down a drone that was flying toward Moscow. Emergency service specialists are working at the site where the debris fell.
Urgent, Russia is in blackout. A triumph for the Ukrainian armed forces. The incredible has happened. Drones and missiles are taking out power plants deep inside Russia. An energy apocalypse has hit the regions. Putin's empire is falling apart before our eyes. Millions of Russians could be left without heat and electricity if the Kremlin does not capitulate on Ukraine's terms. All the details coming up next.
8 airports are closed. Fires from Tuapse to Nizhny Novgorod. 251 drones over 16 regions. From the night of October 5th to 6th, Russia was subjected to the largest Ukrainian drone attack in the past 6 months. A strike was carried out on a power plant in Klintsy-Bryansk region. Power outages began there. A blackout occurred in Belgorod. Part of the city was left without electricity for a long time, and this is not the first time. At the onset of winter and the heating season, Russia has routinely struck at Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And now, for the first time in 3.5 years of war, Kyiv is not only threatening retaliatory strikes, but actually carrying them out.
If they threaten a blackout in the capital of Ukraine, then the Kremlin should know there will be a blackout in the capital of Russia as well.
Any action by Russia aimed at harming Ukraine provokes a symmetrical response. This applies to the energy sector.
The president said it absolutely correctly. We will find both the means and the weapons, and we will carry out these operations. They will definitely realize that this way they will not achieve any advantage. Any action by Russia will definitely be met with a counteraction. Andriy Ignatov, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
Blackouts in Russian regions and even in Moscow are quite possible. And there are several reasons for this. One of them, of course, is the strikes by the Ukrainian armed forces on the energy system. And the second is the sanctions that are already in effect. And accordingly, it is impossible to purchase spare parts and equipment, and the existing ones are deteriorating and becoming unusable.
Russia's energy sector today is a powder keg. The capacity deficit has reached 25 gigawatts. This is not an isolated failure, but a systemic collapse. And this is even before any systematic strikes, which Russia itself is bringing closer by its actions against our energy sector. Instead of investing in its own thermal and hydroelectric power plants, Moscow is losing reserves due to sanctions and aging equipment. Andrei Kovalenko, head of the Center for Political Studies.
If Ukraine starts systematically striking thermal and hydroelectric power plants in all regions of the Russian Federation, as happened in the Belgorod region on Sunday night into Monday, it will be extremely difficult to restore Russia's energy sector. Currently, 42 regions of the Russian Federation are already introducing consumption restrictions during peak hours. In the center of the country, in Siberia, and in the Far East, there is an energy shortage everywhere. And that's even without any capacities being knocked out. When Russians destroy Ukraine's energy sector, we have a safety net. We receive kilowatts from the EU as well as spare parts for repairs. In turn, Russia does not have such support. The energy workers can only rely on themselves. And as the latest strike on the power grid showed, Russia is facing a very long, cold and dark winter.
The front is on fire. A bombshell statement from Xerxes, The power grid is counterattacking. Ukraine has decided to go on the offensive. And the Russians are trying to break through in a new sector. The power grid stands like a wall and works with precision. For the Russians, there's only one way out, to head to Kobzon's concert. A drone obliterates enemy infantry and equipment to pieces. No one expected this. Watch the fiery details now.
The Russians on the front are opening a new direction for their offensive. We're talking about the south of Ukraine, specifically the Zaporizhia sector. So, not far from Stepnohirsk, in the area of the settlement of Stepne, the enemy has been carrying out active assault operations for the past several days. The occupiers are also trying to send their so-called observers to the Dnipro Islands located in the gray zone. Fortunately, all the enemy's attempts to gain a foothold and deliver ammunition across the river end the same way. For example, the unmanned systems unit of the 15th Karadak Operational Brigade has thwarted more than one such attempt. Those few who do manage to cross the river are already being awaited on land by Ukrainian drones. Overall, in the southern operational zone, the enemy is striking with guided aerial bombs and unguided rockets, and is constantly increasing the use of kamikaze drones. Also, over the past few days, due to worsening weather conditions, the occupiers have increased the number of artillery shellings. In those same areas where the occupiers can reach with drones, all the fields and tree lines are strewn with fiber optic cables. This, for example, is what the Pokrovsky direction looks like today. The area around is completely covered with fiber optic cables, each one connected to a deadly FPV drone. But despite all this, our soldiers keep working and are carrying out a real hunt for the occupiers. Our drone operators find the enemy everywhere, in buildings, tree lines and shelters, then give a warm welcome to enemy infantry and equipment. Despite all the efforts of the Russians, our soldiers managed to achieve success in certain sections of the front. For example, in the Donetsk region, the Ukrainian armed forces stopped the advance of the occupiers in one of the directions, stabilized the situation, and are eliminating the remaining saboteurs. In particular, the defense forces have stabilized the situation in Yampol in Donetsk region and are clearing the area of sabotage groups.
A unit of the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces and the National Guard are conducting strike and search operations in the settlement itself to identify and eliminate the remaining enemy sabotage groups.
Syrski also shared details about the Ukrainian offensive near Dobropilya. There, the Ukrainian armed forces managed to accurately strike several enemy concentrations and partially destroy the occupiers' logistics chain. In certain areas, Ukrainian drone pilots are effectively creating death roads for the enemy. For example, our UAVs caught up with 2 Russian vans, 6 trucks, and at least 2 armored combat vehicles. The occupiers' losses in this direction over the past day amount to 47 personnel, of which 32 are irrecoverable. Since the start of the counter-offensive operation in the Dobropilya direction, the Russians have lost about 3,520 personnel. Of these, at least 2,000 will return home in coffins. However, despite heavy losses on all fronts, Russian generals show no intention of stopping local assaults. On the contrary, together with Putin, they seem to be deliberately trying to send as many Russian contract soldiers to their deaths as possible. For example, the Russians advanced in the Kharkiv region toward 8 settlements at once, according to reports from the Ukrainian General Staff. According to the military, over the past day, Ukrainian forces repelled 12 attacks in the southern Slobozhansky direction. And these shots are already in the area of the settlement of Kotlyarivka. As we can see, the Russian helicopter failed to evade the Ukrainian FPV drone. And although the incident itself happened the day before, Russian media have only now published the video of the enemy bird being shot down. On the Lyman front, while the enemy launched as many as 12 attacks trying to advance near the settlements of Karpivka and Rekivka, fighters from the 3rd Army Corps broke through the occupiers' positions and got behind enemy lines. As a result, the Ukrainian exchange fund was replenished with a couple of new Russian prisoners.
I'm broadcasting. I won't kill you. Come out with your hands up. Throw away your weapon. Come out. If you surrender, you'll go home, you fool. Come out, because you won't get another chance.
However, not all occupiers are lucky enough to be taken prisoner. For example, our reconnaissance drones captured the moment when 2 Russian soldiers in the Sumy region surrendered to a paratrooper from the 30th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade. When their fellow countrymen learned that the Russians were trying to surrender to the Ukrainian armed forces, they decided that Russians do not surrender. And instead of trying to rescue their comrades, they simply took out their own with a drone. At that moment, our soldier was just leading the prisoners to the evacuation point. Fortunately, as a result of the Russian drone strikes, unlike the occupiers themselves, he was not harmed.
What? And more importantly, when will finally bring Russia down? Share your opinions in the comments. Like the video to stay up to date with the main news. There's more to come.